we're changing it up today, so everyone's new. So let me know when we're ready, Aidan.
Yeah, okay. So, we will go live in... Why? Oh, we're live.
Excellent. Hello, and welcome to the Intern Breakroom at Nonviolence International, New York. I am Nicole, and I am a civil society liaison.
I'm Aidan, and I'm a video journalist.
And today we are joined by Deepa and Sarah. They are in our office as well. And we are going to start off our conversation today. We got a couple of activities, but we're going to start off by asking, do you guys know what tomorrow is? And let's have Deepa answer, because I think Sarah knows.
It's August 6th, so Hiroshima, right?
Yes! Wow! Oh my gosh. I did not know what day that was. So I know I'm sure we have an anniversary all the time. But yes, it is. The 75th anniversary actually is tomorrow.
I got the arms control, the publication thing in my mail this week, so that's why that's the only reason I remember.
That is awesome. And all of our research analysts are geniuses because, yes, it's really good to know that we have a network and it works. That's why I wanted to pick it, because I also got that newsletter, Deepa. And I was like, we should do something. Maybe we can do it on the Intern Breakroom. So with that, I think let's go to Sarah. Sarah, you know what tomorrow is, and do you want to maybe share the surprise with everyone that we cooked up?
Okay, so hello, I'm Sarah Kirshbaum, and tomorrow, with it being the 75th anniversary, we decided to do a quick lesson on how to make a paper crane, an origami paper crane. And so we're going to try to do that all together, and it's going to be very interesting. I have never known how to do it, and now I have made 25 trying to learn. And so this should be really fun.
Yay!
Awesome.
Go away.
So, Nicole, while I set up my camera, would you want to talk a little bit about the paper crane and what it means?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of stuff going on tomorrow, and whenever I was looking up, I'm not sharing my screen, so I can minimize myself. Whenever I was looking up maybe activities that we could do, there was this one really beautiful article, and there's also a couple of more little tidbits of information that we can share as well. That's in the thing that I sent to you, Aidan.
Okay.
But essentially, oh my gosh, it's loading. There was this really cute, just the story. I think I gave it to Sarah. Yes, so this is one of the activities that they had, because there's lots of activities, there's lots of events. There's going to be tomorrow, a whole from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. The hashtag We're Still Here initiative. They have a whole thing going on tomorrow. But here's one of the activities that's being put on by some group in Albany. So this is with they're having a virtual conversation and socially distant vigil. And this is with Upper Hudson Peace Action in Albany. And so they're having this activity where on the evening of August 6th, they're asking us to join in a socially distant vigil where you place these little cranes, little peace cranes, and candles in your window, and to share the photos on Facebook. And so for folding an origami crane, the information they have there is, it is believed that folding 1,000 origami cranes brings one a peaceful and happy life. And so following the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, origami crane folding became an action for peace and nuclear abolition, particularly for young people. And this arose from the story of Sadako Sasaki, a child at the time of the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima. Sadako contracted leukemia from the radioactive fallout. She tried to make 1,000 cranes, but passed away before she could finish. Her classmates finished the 1,000 cranes for her and then made crane making their message for peace. They raised funds for a memorial to Sadako in the Hiroshima Peace Park. So origami crane making is now taught in schools around the world. So yeah, so that's our little activity. So I thought we could make a crane. So this is our little workshop. And then Sarah is great. And I'll have her talk about herself some more when she comes back. Oh, she is back. Oh, great. So Sarah's going to show us how to do this thing. I have many of these, but I will make another one. I had to make them for a play that I was in. That was my activity. So yes, Aidan has paper. Deepa, do you have paper?
Yeah, I'm grabbing.
Excellent.
I'm gonna just like on my notes.
Am I is this the top for you guys?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Just make
It's sideways, but like, so it's the right, but that's fine.
I can shift. Is it the top for you now?
Now it's the bottom.
No.
Okay, now it's the top.
Okay.
Okay, I'm there with you right now.
Okay. Great.
What's happening?
Okay. So the first step we need to do, like most origami, we need to make a square. So how we do that is you fold it so that this top triangle, this top triangle is cut in half, and you line it up with the edge.
Okay.
And then you crease, and then you will cut off the excess. And so, yeah, that.
I'm just gonna crease mine because I don't have scissors nearby, and just like crease it back and forth a bunch of times until I can tear it.
Yeah.
That is too challenging for me, so.
Scissors definitely work better.
Okay, so I'm going to give, when you are done, please say done.
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 Okay. So I'm going to open
Aidan's
it
not
up.
done.
I'm done.
Okay, I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to crease the opposite way. So notice that I'm going across the crease. So I just opened it, and I'm going across the crease to make an X to the opposite corner. And I'm going to crease it. And notice that I made a little bit of a mistake. So I'm going to fix that.
I am ironically by pure coincidence doing this on my Cold War notes.
That's
Yeah.
actually very,
like I'm not even joking.
I like it.
Very
This is in the
poetic.
Cold War.
So I'm going to open up and then flip it over.
Okay.
And I'm going to now fold this bottom edge to the top. And so remember, I flipped over the paper, so it's going the opposite way.
Yeah, they need to be bendy in both ways.
I learned that after 5 tries, and I realized that was the step I was missing. And now I'm going to fold it the opposite way. So I'm making these 4 sections.
I feel like this is a life skill.
I just opened it and I'm folding it again across. So yes. Okay. Now I want to make sure everyone is at this step because the next one is a little tricky if you don't watch.
Yep.
That one looks
Okay.
good, Aidan.
Yeah, this corner especially.
Okay, so if I'm going to put the pen, if this is where you're standing, the pen, you want to create a diamond. So the bottom point is facing where you're standing. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's very important. That is the hardest thing that I did not realize after the first 5. So what you're going to do now is take this fold and line it up with this fold. So watch. I'm going to bring this down so it folds, the folds match up. Okay? And then I'm going to bring this fold and bring it down to the fold.
Wait, how did you?
Do you want me to do that again?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Like a little frog.
So I'm gonna draw these folds so you guys can see them. Oh,
The sides go in.
okay. Ignore this fold. Okay, can you guys see the pen?
Yes.
Okay, so this fold, this one that cuts it in half diagonally, this is going to match up with here. So I'm going to bring this fold down. You see that?
That's why you gotta bend them back and forth when you're making the creases, because it makes this part easy.
I didn't bend them enough.
And then I'm going to bring this down so we end up with a diamond.
I'm so glad you're doing this, Sarah. Because like I've made crayons like a bunch, but I don't know how to make them. My hands just do it, so I could not explain this. I'd be like, you do the thing, and it happens.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
mine is just not working out too well.
All right, how does it look when it's exploded? Look, how does it? Does it
So
look
the
like
creases are right. It's just not folding in properly.
do the
So-
hamburger hot dog creases again. Make sure they're like really. You can use your nails a little bit to kind of like make them snappy.
So, Deepa, what you have to make sure is this bottom corner,
Yeah.
these folds here are going in towards this corner. Okay, so even if they're folding the wrong way, you want to make sure that you can crease it manually by creasing this in and folding it down.
Oh, I should have picked a bolder color.
I'm just so bad with things like this.
Are you doing this instead?
No, mine looks like okay, so it's this part and then it goes down like that, but it just won't fold. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Just not the type of things I'm good at.
You can do it.
We believe in you.
Can.
No, come on.
You can do it. This is a challenge.
Okay, so it's
got
this part, right? And then you
Yeah.
put it like that.
So like it's like
No,
it's like
no.
a diamond.
Okay,
So
yeah,
remember-
it looks like that. Yeah.
This diamond's at the bottom.
Yeah, I
This
got
corner's
that.
at the bottom. This corner
Mm-hmm.
is folding down. So see, there's a crease right here, and that's folding. And then this crease is folding.
Okay, I think that is happening. Okay.
And then you do the same for the other. This crease that's at a right angle to where my finger is, this crease is going to match up with my finger.
Okay.
We got this.
Mine
Aidan, what are
looks
you
like
doing?
this
I'm
now.
making a paper box.
A box.
Yeah, yes.
Oh.
Okay, Deepa, let me see.
It's like that. So I have the two sides like that. That's how the back looks like.
Oh.
I just can't like.
So you're on your way to making a paper box right now.
Okay, and then how do I get this middle thing to
Wait, do it in front of the camera if you can.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
Open it up again.
You're folding it the wrong way. You want to fold it like
Oh
the
yeah,
inverse of
yeah.
that.
So yeah, you almost got it. You got the principle, but it's see how it's like this?
Yeah,
Do this.
like that.
Yeah, yeah. Do sideways, and then these two things are gonna come in and
So
kiss.
these two things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the other way, like instead of
Yeah, the other way.
like pull them towards you instead of away from you.
So like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so bad at this. I'm so sorry about this.
Oh, it's okay.
No, you got this.
Okay.
This is really fascinating.
This is really hard. I was working on this all
Sorry,
night,
I've just
so.
never done origami. Okay, so it looks like this now. I don't think I could do.
I think she's missing a fold.
I have folds. I have folds everywhere. Like it's like half down, half, and then I have the diagonal one.
And then crosses. Okay, yeah, but I think what's going on is you think you're doing this, but what you're really doing is that. You see the difference? It's not on this crease. The hamburger hot dog folds, those are the outside of the new box. So this needs to fold halfway.
Okay, and then how are you folding it? Let me see.
Let's be united.
We see this.
Yeah. Okay.
I have this crease going straight down.
Yeah.
And then these folds that go across, those are what we're folding together. See?
Okay. Wait, can you do that one more time?
So this crease is going up and down.
Yeah.
Right? So this is where you're sitting. So the diamond, this is right at your body.
Mm-hmm.
This bottom part.
Yeah.
Now, the ones going perpendicular, crossing over that crease, we're going to fold this together.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And we're going to bring it down. This is coming down to here. So we're pulling these two creases should come in and they should kiss.
Mwah.
Yeah. Wait, you're gone now.
Me?
You're back.
Okay,
Yes.
you're back.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, so they should crease, they should kiss, and then they should come down, and we can flatten the whole
We
thing.
haven't.
Yes!
Awesome.
Okay, that's
Okay.
so hard.
That's the
So
hardest part.
now, make sure
Hold
the
up, hold up.
opening is at the
Wait
bottom.
1 second. Sorry.
Yeah. She's making it clean.
Okay.
Okay. Happy it
Make sure
happened.
the opening is at the bottom. See how this opens up? Okay,
Yeah.
the opening's at the bottom, and I'm going to pull back one layer. Okay? And I'm going to take this part, this side of the diamond, and line it up with the middle crease. So I'm taking this and pulling it in.
Wait, mine doesn't open like that.
Can we see?
So the top is like this part, and then the bottom is the open part where all the accordion stuff is happening.
Mine opens like the openings are at the bottom. Is that wrong?
No,
just
that's
flip it around.
correct.
Yeah.
It's upside down.
Just
Yeah,
flip it up.
that's right.
Okay. Okay.
Is
Yeah,
this,
the part. Go ahead.
this is the bottom, right? Where my pen is?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to take this edge and fold it, bring it so it lines up with the center fold. Okay. And we're going to do that with both sides. And
Now it looks like a kite.
Just don't think I'm doing this right. I'm so sorry. Mine
Okay.
doesn't fold like that.
Can we see?
Yeah, show
So
us.
it's just like it's like
bottom.
that. So all the openings are on the top.
Just
Right.
flip it over.
Flip it upside down.
Yeah, like this, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you cut anything?
No.
No. You see
So-
how, like, there's kind of like a top and bottom accordion section, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
so
So you have it
this
open.
part where it opens is at the bottom of is towards yourself, is at the bottom of the screen.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Okay. And then so this can open, it's just gonna be the diamond and I'm just gonna fold it in. This edge is going to match up with this center crease.
Okay. Got it.
A box.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna flip it over and do the exact same thing on the other side. make sure that this bottom corner is lined up. We need to make sure that that is a good triangle. I always start at the bottom and get that creased and then go up, because that's where the line up happens, is at that bottom corner. And because I forgot to do that, I'm going to use my perfectly made one that I made earlier to finish the job.
Oh.
I made each step just in case I screwed up one.
It's like a cooking show.
Okay. So now, Deepa, I just want to warn you, this next step is a little intense.
Okay.
So we're going to open up these flaps. Okay.
Both sides or just one?
Both. But we're going to do one at a time. We're going to open up this one and we're going to open it up. Okay, so watch how I do this very slowly. I'm going to open it up and flatten, not all the way, but my goal is these creases right here that we just made, I'm going to fold inward. So it's going to flatten very awkwardly, and I'm going to pull it so it closes over itself. And it's took a lot of practice.
Oh, you know what I think was helpful? So when it's in a kite form, I found that whenever I make them, I bend this part down to make a crease for myself to know when to kind of stop and make it flat at that one section. Because it doesn't open all the way. It has like a little bit of a spine to it.
Okay. Would you guys like to see this one more time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the end result. This is how I looked before. I'm going to open them up. And I'm going to open this up. So what Nicole's saying is I'm going to fold this part down first to make a crease. And I'm going to pull it back up again. And I'm going to open it. And now this is an opening, right? It looks like a mouth. And when I pull it tight, these parts, I'm going to help them fold inwards by pushing on the creases. And they're going to fold in. This is a hard crane. This is a hard origami piece to teach, just for in general, because there are so many steps that are so delicate.
Concentration.
Yeah, I just don't think this is happening for me right now.
Can we see where you are?
Aidan.
Looks like this right now, and I'm not really sure on where to fold. Because it won't fold like it rises.
You're very close.
You're very close, yeah.
But it won't fold properly in though.
It's hard. So look how I open it.
Yeah.
Okay. And these creases right here, I'm going to fold inwards. See? The ones we just made.
Yeah.
So I pull it up and I'm going to push on these creases so that they fold in. And this is a hard step for sure. And I'm going to like pull it. So I'm just trying to make it look nice. And it's folding inward. See, it was like this, and I'm folding them in. Right on the creases we had already made.
Oh my goodness. So while you guys are doing that, I was gonna like share some more information. But I don't know if my internet will cooperate. It will. Hooray! Oh, good. Please click the thing. So yeah, so there's actually a campaign toolkit for the 75th anniversary. And it's really great. They've got it's with hashtag still here. and they have like a bunch of information about, you know, things going on and like how to, you know, join. And then one of the things they have about the primary symbol, right, is the crane. Yeah, and so the information they have is they say that, you know, the crane is a symbol of peace directly related to the history of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and a story of resilience in the face of destruction. The crane plays homage to Japan, but is a symbol of youth, peace, and prosperity across many cultures, unifying us all under the shared ambition of a better, safer world. The visual reproduction shown at the right, and it's one of these. That's inspired by that story that I shared with you guys about Sadaku Sasaki. Sadaku.
Oh, that's so cool.
Is this okay? Something.
Can I see the other side? Okay, now let me see the side again.
Oh, I see.
It's a little messed up. That's something.
It's okay.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, so Deepa, it's up to you. Do you want us to try to fix it?
No, I don't think there's a point. I'll practice on my own time.
Okay.
Next is dog time. It turns into a dog.
I made a little shuriken.
My.
Aidan, how many things are you making over there?
I just have these.
Okay, let me get this one thing.
The crane is hard. Like, both of these are easier than the crane.
Okay, guys, are you ready for the next step?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we've done both sides. We've closed on both sides. The next step we're going to do is take this edge of the diamond, and once again, we're folding it in to meet the middle crease. And oh, something very important. The little legs need to be at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay? I almost forgot. So watch, I'm taking this edge, this bottom edge, and lining it up with the middle crease. And remember to start at the bottom, because that's where the definition of the triangle will be most important.
Do that on both sides?
Yeah.
So, Aidan, you've done origami before?
Yeah. Not anything like crazy complicated, but like the simpler stuff.
I was in this play, and it was Tennessee Williams, because Tennessee Williams is crazy about birds. So there's like birds all the time in all of his plays. But I had to learn how to do this for the play. And so like while my partner had like this really long monologue, I just like made this crane, but like I kind of had to do it fast.
Right.
And like I had to like never mess up.
Right.
Because it was like important later.
Right. Oh, that's really cool.
Like,
though.
oh God, like in front of like, you know, I don't know, like 50-ish people. Like,
Did you ever mess up?
No, I managed to do it every time.
They
weren't always like beautiful.
Really
but...
quickly, guys, just flip it over and do the same on the back.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I did it. I think, right?
Yeah.
They're
That
on
looks
both
good to
sides.
me. Yeah, I have
Like a
it too.
Okay. Okay. So remember, the biggest tip I have is to start at the bottom and really make sure that crease lines up.
Yeah, mine looks like.
Can we see?
What is it?
No. So bad.
Well, I remember where you were, and we were kind of like, how do we fix it? Let's just.
It's okay. I'm so determined to figure this out. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna practice.
Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And we can always talk after if you want to practice some more. Okay, so now what I have been doing, I find easier, is I'm going to fold this over and just make that crease better. And that wasn't on any of the instructions I found, but I found it be much easier later. So I'm creasing that over and creating that crease. So I'm just folding this and creasing it, and then I'm going to do the same on the back. Okay. If Nicole, if I do miss a step, please let me know.
I think did we do the book thing yet?
That's the next step, right? Where we fold this up. Yeah.
No,
So,
no.
okay.
You gotta do the book first. Yeah. So it's like this right now, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they each only have like one fold in there. And then so what you do is you pretend like it's a book and you're gonna make a dog. You see how they have, so this is the way kind of is in the front. And
Yep.
so you're like, oh, I'm gonna turn the page of this book here. And then you
Okay.
do the same thing on the other side.
Okay.
And now
sure.
you have a puppy face.
Yep. Looks more like a fox to me.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Mine does not look
I
like
really,
What are you talking about? Am I at the right spot?
Yeah, just
make it, now you make it into a book.
just swap the thing you have, which is like this.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
like turn it,
Fold it over.
and now you're there.
Yep, there you go.
This?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Do the same thing the other side. Yep, yep, yep.
All right.
Yes. All right, and now we do the splits. We go like that.
Okay. Yeah. That's the next step. Okay, I was about to do that. Okay. I was just confused. Okay, ready? So
Yep.
now we're here. So I'm just gonna go over a little slower for everyone that's watching. We just did the folds inward here, and now you're just going to fold. You're gonna fold this over to here. Okay, and notice it still opens at the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring this up. Okay, we're bringing this up to the top. And it doesn't need to go all the way up, but I'll show you as I do it. I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to fold it back over. And what's happening?
I think
Now,
you gotta do it on the same on both sides before you move on to the next step, because otherwise it gets all it all gets squished onto one side. It's like too heavy on the left.
oh, okay. I have not been doing that way. And so now you're going to fold this up like the same way. Okay. And you're going to crease it and you're going to fold it in. Okay. So now we have these in here. So in this is the original fold we had. We turned it, brought the sides up. Okay. And now it looks like this. And we see two little guys sticking up at the top.
Yep.
Okay. And now what we're going to do is pull this down. And so I want you to pay attention to this bottom edge. As I pull this down, it's going to unfold downward a little bit.
Oh.
So do you see it pulls up, and then I'm going to pull it down and remake a crease. So this can be at a farther angle, a wider angle. And so that bottom crease right there is the key. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side, but I'm going to make less of an angle. And so pay attention to this bottom crease. And I'm going to refold it just a little bit lower. Okay. That was a lot easier by doing them on both sides. Thank you for that tip. Okay.
I've done a lot of these very badly.
Okay, so now one of these are going to be the head and one's going to be the tail. I think this has a nicer tip, so I'm going to make it the tail and keep it how it is. And then this is what I'm going to do for this side to make the head. So we have this middle crease, okay? And I'm just going to push down on the crease and fold it in.
Mm-hmm.
See? Do we see how I did that?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it again. I have the crease. I'm going to, like about halfway, you can choose how big the mouth is. I'm just pushing it down and folding it inward. It's like a little crease.
They look like dragons.
Mm.
And then the last step, we're just going to pull, these are the wings, and we're just going to fold them down, and it will give you a natural fold, a natural place to crease it. And now this guy has a friend. Hello.
Yay! Friendship. See, like I never did the head like that. I usually do it. They look like they're on water. That was the dragon.
So now I have like 40.
Yay! Once you make cranes, now you always make cranes.
And so when you brought these down to create that angle, now these make feet. See? And that's what they stand on.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yay!
Yay! Okay,
All right,
I'm going to switch over to my other camera so that you can see my face again.
Okay.
Okay. So Aidan, why can you make a shuriken? What's that about? That's violent, man. This is Nonviolence International.
It's so violent, I know. Oh geez. When I was much younger, I did a lot of origami, like little origami things like this. I even tried to sell them at one point, like a bunch of, I don't know who would buy them, but I was like 10.
Like for pudding packs or something? Or?
Yeah, something like that. At like the local Boys and Girls Club. We had a fun time. That was really what mattered. I also, like, in this process, I was reminded of, apparently, like, origami gets way, way, way deeper than a lot of people realize. Like, there's, like, these super advanced origami masters who make, out of, like, one piece of paper, they can fold into, like, a incredibly high definition, like, for example, a cicada is like the classic thing that people try and make. So, you know, they have something that looks kind of like this, you know, that, you know, it evokes the shape of the thing, but doesn't look exactly like it. But like the origami masters, the really, really, really good people, they, you know, with like 500 folds, they make something that looks exactly like a cicada. Like, you can see, like, the eye has, like, definition, and it's got creases, and, like, the feet have, like, the little each individual claw is there. Like, it's crazy. Very cool.
I guess at that point, you just have like a couple of techniques about like how to make like a shape and like how much paper you need, and you just kind of are able to be more creative. I feel like they're just like making it up, you know, like they're like paper architects.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Sarah. That was really cool.
Yay!
You're welcome. That was fun. And now I know a new skill.
Yay!
Exactly.
I think so Sarah, can you explain a little bit why you're so good at teaching things like this?
Yes, of course. I taught elementary education for multiple years, and my favorite thing to do was incorporate art into my lessons. So I had a lot of art integrated lessons where I would teach writing through the drawing process, and I really enjoyed you know, focusing on what the kids would need and what the mistakes would be. And so I knew how to really focus in on those harder parts to get to help the variety, you know, to help everybody. And so, you know, 20 to 30 little children trying to fold paper or do other projects, such as there's this thing I do called Zentangle, that's meditative drawing I've taught to them. And you know, and then once we switched to distance learning, I had to do it all over Zoom. So this was something that I would incorporate in the distance learning recently to really get them to do hands-on mind challenges, all that kind of stuff while they were sitting at home. And so this is the type of thing I love to do in the classroom and with people in general. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's so interesting because, like, you know, I always think about, you know, all of my education stuff has gone online. I'm still in grad school. Aidan, what's going on? Are you done? Are you almost done?
I have 1 semester left.
One semester left, right?
So I'm going
You
back
got
in a
this.
month. Yeah.
And then Deepa, you've got a year left over at LSE, right?
Yeah.
So like, what did you guys like? Did you experience any of the spring semester online, and like, how did that go?
So for me, it was like, so we had 2 weeks of classes, or 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks of classes online. And it was like, I mean, all of the stuff was like seminars. So it was just like the hours were really bad for me because of the time difference. So I would have to wake up some days at like 3 for classes and stuff like that. And I'll be done with all 3 of my
Wait.
classes by like 6. And then I was like, oh, okay.
AM?
Yeah.
Wait, so what are the 2 time zones? Your
Um,
LS.
it's 6 hours ahead of us.
Oh.
Yeah,
So LSE is.
ahead of me in Chicago. Yeah, so central. So mine is central. Yeah, so 6 hours from. Yeah,
Oh, that's rough.
yeah. So that was kind of weird, but it was. And then we had like a month, like my exam study period. So it was like a month off, and it was just exams. And my school did a funny thing where they didn't really change any of our exams, so nothing was like that different. They were all like kind of intense. Like one of my exams were like 3 hours, like it was 3 questions each, 1,500 words, so 4,500 words in 24 hours.
Oh my god.
It was horrible. That one was, I mean, it's all done and everything, but it was like pretty intense. But yeah, it's done, so I'm happy. And so next year, like I'm lucky because London's like doing a lot better than we are here. So we have our classes in person, like that. And I think first term we have lectures online, but libraries and everything like that's open. So hopefully it'll be
Wow,
Yeah.
man,
okay.
I'm going to school in New York City.
You're going in person.
No, all of my classes that I need are all online. That's what the registration page says. So it's like they theoretically some of the classes are offered in person, but I don't think they can do it. You know,
Yeah.
like I think they want to, but it depends on what New York is doing. You know, I mean they're not in control of that really. So
Yeah. Same for me. They're saying people can go back to campus. They have to like write a special application to go back to campus, which I'm definitely not gonna do.
where do you go?
Amherst College in Massachusetts. It's like very small. It's like 1,800 kids. So I don't know how many people are actually going to go back, but I think almost every course is offered online, and then there'll be some in-person stuff in theory, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about everybody else's programs, but like mine's like really international. Like so many students are all over.
Oh no, time zones.
The time zones are crazy. I was like at like the end of the spring, I was working with somebody, and where was she? Was she? Oh yeah, I've had people like in Japan and in Singapore, and we're just like, hey, sorry, we have to meet at this scheduled time like we usually do, but now it's like the opposite of what time you should be.
Because it's like a 12-hour time difference, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's like me too. Like some people coming back is I feel like going to be a little tricky because 70% of LSE is international.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. So they're making this thing where it's like if you have to be there second semester, but if you can't first semester, it's like fine. So I wonder how many kids are going to actually show up. But a lot of like international wise, it's like a lot of the EU people too. So it's like like the situation is better like everywhere else though, you know.
But of course, college is just going to be like not a great environment in terms of being able to social distance and everything.
Yeah.
Everyone in dorms, eating in the same meal halls, in the same classes, and mixing so much. Like,
yeah, it's gonna be weird for the freshmen for like because when I go back, I have to quarantine for like 2 weeks, but I'm like doing it at my apartment, you know, so it's fine. But like some of the freshmen that are international are gonna have to quarantine for 2 weeks.
oh, miss all of their like initial social building time and everything. Oh,
Built in 2 weeks before all of that though. Like I don't know how they're doing it.
yeah,
I don't know
very interesting.
for sure.
Oh, did you guys see the Trump interview? The most recent one, the Axios.
I don't even know why I watched it. Like, They had it up. It was ridiculous.
Oh
I don't
my
know. Did you guys see
gosh.
it?
I watched the beginning. It's the one with the graphs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't watch most like things like that through.
I didn't watch the full 40 minutes. I watched just like a couple little segments, but oof.
That guy was great though. He was like, but like, listen, like, be with me, like, be present just for a moment. you know,
Uh, did you
listen to what you're saying.
did you see the part where Trump bragged about being able to read?
um, I don't know if I internalized that. I may have been talking to my boyfriend at the time, but that sounds like a thing that happened.
Um, so was everyone there at the intro section, or not the intro, the workshop today?
No,
About you
Oh,
were.
yeah, Sarah was.
So I guess let's just do a quick summary of that first. Although it's kind of hard to summarize. What was the man's name again?
Andre
Andre
Kamenchikov.
Andrei Kamenchikov. He came in and basically had a talk about the history of the Soviet Union, and specifically like the history of its collapse and like how it fell apart. And I found it really interesting. He talked a lot about kind of the ways that we don't necessarily center ideology when we think about like historical collapse and things like that, but from his perspective at least, like the ideological collapse of people just ceasing to believe in the USSR system was so important. What else did people find pertinent or interesting?
Sarah, you saw it. What'd you think?
I mean, I think that was a very interesting point that he had, where when you're in the culture and you're in with everyone telling you to think a certain way, it's really hard to question or even know to question what you're being told. And he was talking about how they would give the families instructions on how to build those summer homes, and they never questioned that it was actually not a good quality home, or that it wasn't a good situation. And I found that very interesting, that like, but as you know, as the structure was not set to help people, people saw it, you know, collapse and crumble as it became more and more difficult for them. And so I thought that was very interesting.
I wish I attended, because I took a course last year and it was on the Cold War, and like it's based on this book, The Cold War: A World History by Aidan Wested. And the argument he makes is like one of the arguments he makes is that the Cold War was an ideological war too, like not in the way like we think of it as like, you know, like communism versus capitalism, but just like the ideology that like a system's like justified like domestically to like carry it on like with their allies, etc. It's super interesting, and how they like projected that like elsewhere. And like he essentially makes the argument that it wasn't a Cold War, just because like the two didn't fight each other per se, but
well, it's on our YouTube channel, so you can check it out later if you would like.
Yeah, I have the recording. We recorded it, so we're all set with that. Yay! So check it out, everyone. There was like so many, especially in the last wrap up section, I had like so many thoughts, like, you know, banging around in my head. But I thought it was interesting about how the idea that like you have like in terms of like who's giving the instructions for like how to build the house, right? I'm thinking like, well, now here's the thing, right? If I'm gonna follow an instruction, right? And I don't know exactly how, and I'm gonna have to kind of comply with it. You know, there's a lot of trust that has to go into there, and you really have to kind of back it up with like, hey, I know this is inconvenient for you, but it's because of like this data, and we have all this information, and you know it's going to have these effects, because it's possible, right? It's possible that there's a logical reason why you couldn't build a summer home that big. They have some information, blah blah blah. You know, go ahead.
For the listeners, just like what we're talking about is he grew up in the USSR, I believe, and his
grandparents did.
No, I think he said he did.
We can check out the
He
recording.
he said he grew up in Moscow for sure.
Yeah.
But like his mother was American, his father was Russian. He grew up in Moscow for most of his life, I believe. But anyway, at a certain point in his childhood, they were made to give up a plot of land where his grandfather had built a house. You know, like the government came in and said, no, you can't have this plot of land anymore. But at the same time, the government was like, oh, everyone can have like a little plot of land out in the country to build a summer house, right? And so what they did is they took the grandparents' house. They, I guess, like hired a big truck, moved the whole house out off of the plot of land they couldn't own anymore, out to the country. And then once they had it there, they had to cut it down so it was smaller because the USSR government essentially said, or the Soviet government essentially said, like, your summer house can only be so big. Like, if it's bigger than this, that's bad because, you know, then it's like a inequality thing, right?
Yeah.
Just for
So like for
context.
instance, right? Like in New York and like in other places too, right? You can't build your buildings like too tall in certain areas because you're gonna just block the sun out from like everybody else. And there's like there's reasons, like there's zoning laws, you know. So there's reasons why like, you know, there has to be like a government kind of response to like people's like what they are doing because it affects other people, and we're trying to manage this information. And the onus shouldn't be on you, like even as like the homeowner, to like really do all your, you know, added like research on like what's going on here, like where are the pipes, whatever. It's good to have like a government that like will like keep in mind everybody's stuff that is held accountable to people. But like you make sure that it is actually held accountable to people and they aren't making like arbitrary rules. Because even if a rule is something that you don't understand, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily arbitrary, you know. Maybe you just don't have like a plumbing, you know, certificate, you know, like there's reasons why you can't drill here.
Right. I mean, one of Andre,
Yeah.
Right. One of Andre's big points was that in like the pursuit of justice, you can go too far and start cutting individual freedoms off. You know, like you can go too far and start cutting off individual freedoms where people no longer, you know, have the right to build their home, or like they no longer have the right to have a home that's like X big. Personally, I didn't think that example was like super useful. Like, I mean, I think there are more important things in terms of personal freedom than whether someone can have a house that's like X amount big. But what did we think of that in general? And Deepa, like, what do you think of that kind of idea that it's possible to go too far in the pursuit of like social justice and end up
I'm not hearing
freedom?
you. Is anybody else? Is everybody else fine with hearing Aidan?
We're fine.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's just me then.
I think some things like, I don't know, I don't think that you could go far in the pursuit of social justice. It just depends on like the actual intentions of the government and the institutions doing it. If it's like I don't think something like human integrity being preserved is like anything like, you know, where you can be too much. But I feel like the people doing that or saying that they can do it, like, I mean, like Stalin's government, like with like even just like trying to uphold like communist like principles, wasn't like a true like a manifestation of like communist ideals, you know. But it was just like his like own like self-interested pursuit of that. So I feel like it's what we should kind of question are like the institutions and not like basic human rights, you know.
Yeah, because so basically he positions this thing where it's like freedom and justice are kind of like at odds a little bit. And I'm like, I don't know if they necessarily are. I get that I like, you know, any kind of awareness around, you know, if you're trying to pursue an ideal at any cost, right? Then that's not worth it, you know, because there is like, you shouldn't pursue anything at any cost. Like at any time that there is like a human being that's going to get like, you know, run over by a bulldozer, like then there's no cost. There's nothing that, you know, would be worth like a human life, right? So as long as you have that, like I don't think that you need to force like ideals against each other necessarily. I think you kind of feel them out and then constantly like as a daily practice, like and like, oh wait, well, is our government serving people? Like, do we need to change some of these things? Because like, what is the point? Like, you know, I mean, if you're not serving the people, then like what are we doing here?
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
always kind of like recentering, you know.
I know exactly. I hate this like notion that like getting human rights and basic human rights are some sort of ideal. It's just like the bare minimum. Like that's just like we just like need to do some serious readjustments.
Yeah, I think this reminds me a little bit of, there's like this great, it might be a little bit of a tangent, but basically like you know how businesses will pay so much money in like lawsuits to defend like bad guys that like just do sexual harassment all the time. They have this great story on This American Life, and like it went into the whole like TSA agency that contracts at airports, and like it was terrible. It was like all the way up, and like even, and it was like in middle management too, right? And then they had like these really good people, and there was like this showcasing this one like really good like worker, and she like got into management, and like they were super like sexist, they were super racist, and she like did a whole bunch of training, and she like basically built like an army of like incoming people to like know that these are the rules, this is what the handbook says, and we're going to do the right thing. And she had to push and push and push and push, and then at the end of it, like the company like just denied that it was all happening, and like she had to sue them like over and over again, and they just kept trying to sweep it under the rug. And it really made me realize that like the point of this company isn't to make money, you know. It's like the point of this company isn't to like provide a service so that they get more contracts and they can be more competitive, and you know, capitalism, whatever. Like the point of the company apparently is to provide victims for these sexual harassment people, you know, like because that's what they're doing, like because they don't care. They have like the handbook, but like they spent all, I forget what it was, but it was just like they did like a lot. They went all out to protect and not have to fire these really bad, egregious guys. And it really made me kind of realize like, what's the point of this company? You know, like you just want to, you know, be able to like get like jerks into a position where of like middle management so that they can like hurt people that have less options. Apparently, because that's the thing that you're good at, because you're spending all this money. Like I don't know why you would make such an investment in such a ridiculous activity. So it's kind of like, well, what's the point of the government? You know, like what are you guys doing? Like why are you spending like so much money on like X or whatever, you know? So especially I thought it was interesting that he was bringing up, you know, like the difference between like the elite being in this section and then, you know, people being over here, and then like realizing that, you know, well, of course the elite are going to change their mind about like what they want and what's good for them, because like if they're not really connected to like the people that they're serving, then they don't really have like a purpose.
Yeah. And like with like, I don't know, like sexual harassment and things, I do think it's about like representation though. It's like whose issues are like, I feel like, you know, like women just need to be more represented at these higher ranking positions, because it's like people have different priorities, and clearly this isn't a priority for like the people in these positions, you know. And it's just like very disappointing how like we're still at the same spot, you know.
Yeah, it is crazy how I think that because that's essentially what happened with this like with this story, right? Like she got into this management position just because she was doing an excellent job, like at the right time in the right place, and like upper management happened to see her, like the owner of the company saw her and was like promote her. And so once she got there, she realized that it was like a whole thing. Like it was bad. But yeah, I mean, like I think like having women is definitely important. I'm also just like so curious though, like, you know, how do you not like just treat people like, you know, like I mean, like how do you?
I mean, I think a lot of it comes back just to the hierarchical nature of, you know, how we organize our lives, and especially our work lives. You know, the people who get to the top are going to be the people who are most comfortable with exploiting others, in any way, you know. And so, you know, I think that in some ways, like it's a result of just the structures we have. And yeah, of course, like increasing diversity within those structures is a good thing, but I think a lot of it also has to do with just the structure itself, and that needs to be changed.
Yeah, just like people's ideas about like, well, what are you here for? Like, is this really what you want to be doing? You know, and like making it a little bit more simple, I guess.
Yeah. I think that can really be seen in like the priority that our government has in funding. I mean, you see over 80% of the budget is going towards the military instead of teaching people how to choose peaceful actions, or providing the the veterans with the support needed after they've already served. There's no, it's less than 10% for sure, but even less. I mean, it's really sad, the priorities that on money making and protection versus creating a stable structure where you wouldn't go to war. If we educated the world and um, put our priorities into solving issues in other ways, you wouldn't need to go to war. And that was something, to bring it back to Hiroshima, something that I was actually discussing with my boyfriend about this topic. I was like, well, why did they have to? I mean, they didn't have to do the bomb, and what he was saying was, at that point, it was either do the bomb, put off the bomb, or send in more soldiers. And so, yes, it was bad. You wouldn't want to be put in that situation, but they also needed to end the war. And so it was a weird struggle with the US government to like decide what is the correct way to end this. And I mean, it's just
I think that's like the narrative that the government put out, but I don't think that's a real reason. Like, because like, I mean, just look at the second bombing. They gave how many days before that? I don't think it was a matter of saving lives, because it's like they knew what that bomb would result in, and they knew that if they waited out a bit, they were clearly winning the war. Like, Japan was gonna lose, like the D-Day happened. I think it was just a point of waiting out. I really don't think it was about saving American lives. I'm sure that played into an aspect of it, but I really do think they wanted, like, and also if you like look at the dates, like I studied this for kind of like thoroughly, like, so the USSR was supposed to declare war on like Japan like 6 months from a certain like point, and that point was like between those days. So America, like the US, wanted to make sure they dropped the bomb to show the USSR that this was their war and that they were winning it. And that's why they want the Pacific. That's why they dropped it when they did, because they knew there was going to be like a realignment in power after the war, And so I think it was more of like
a message,
I don't know, like to show that the US wanted to make it clear that the US was powerful, and the USSR wasn't part of that.
The other important thing to remember is that the casualties of both of those bombs were overwhelmingly civilian.
Yeah.
I don't know if were there even like military casualties, or was it purely a civilian target?
I'll have to, they've got this event all day tomorrow, where they will be sharing lots of information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's overwhelmingly like innocent people. And anytime that, again, right? So going back to like, what is the government for? What is the military for? Like, what is science for? Like, I think it's really, and there's like, there's a lot of scientists that are very upset about the Manhattan Project, and just like what we're using our resources to do, and like what happened. And I think that like, especially, and we do have to wrap this up like in a minute, but the thing that we can kind of reflect on, tomorrow and then on the 9th for Nagasaki, is just really thinking about how we use our resources. What are the things that, with our ingenuity, like with all the labor that we create, like what is it going towards? And like, how can we make sure that we're not destroying people, that we don't, know for a government that is saying that they're doing it for X reasons, when they really have like maybe a whole other basket of reasons that they don't think that they need to explain to us.
On that kind of note, did you guys see yesterday, I believe, Chris Murphy, who he's the senator, I think, for Connecticut, where I live, but he tweeted out like this list of things. Basically, he was saying Trump's done a bad job with foreign policy in Venezuela, right? But in one of those tweets, he admitted that the U.S. government had organized the April 2019 coup in Venezuela, which failed. Like he just admitted that, which was not public knowledge, and it also like wasn't like he wasn't even thinking about it. Seemingly, like the way he phrased it, it was just another one of the list of things the Trump administration had messed up. So he was like, oh, in Venezuela, we didn't support the right guy. We didn't, do some good foreign policy, talking to China and Russia and whatever. And also, when we did a coup, we did a bad job of the coup. Not his point wasn't that the coup was bad. The point was this coup was a bad job. And just like
there's so much experience in that.
oof. Yeah, I mean the imperialism is alive and well in the U.S. And yeah. he's a Democratic senator as well. Yeah, just if people didn't know.
Oh man.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's where the freedom versus justice thing. It's like, well, I don't know if the U.S. should be free to just like blow up stuff and like just run around and just leave people everywhere and be like, I'm just gonna hurt people and not care about it. Like that's not great. I mean, isn't that the point of sovereignty and United Nations? And we're like, let's talk to each other.
It was really interesting, like that's just like I don't know, like tie things up. Like one of my exam questions for my course was like, what's like more significant or like what's more like influential in American foreign policy? It's self-identity as an anti-colonial nation, or it's self-identity as a nation, as a frontier nation. So it's like our forever expanding frontier like really has a lot of friction with this idea that we are anti-colonial to start with and have always been,
That's like, the idea that America has ever actually been anti-colonial just is absurd to me. Like, I mean, you look at South America. The history of South America is so deeply tied in with American economic colonialism.
Or just look at like continental U.S., just like westward expansion, etc., like it's horrible. Oh man.
I mean, I think they're referencing like that we were literally colonies, though.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Because like the whole notion was like the Bill of Rights and not Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence was like, oh, we're anti-colonial, like Britain sucks, like we want independence, we want liberty, we want democracy, But like for who at that point?
Right.
Yeah, but it's the colonists that are saying that.
Yeah. It's like one of the things like we don't really learn about in like I don't know high school U.S. history is that one of the main reasons for the war was because the British didn't want the people in the colonies to like expand westward after the 7 Years' War. And that was one of the treaties, and because the native policies like helped the British soldiers and the American colonists like win the war,
And also, the further they go from the coast, the less influence the British can have over the colonies.
Because then they're not really colonies anymore.
Right.
Okay, great. So it's 12:12. We started late, but we went over it. We also spent a lot of time on the origami, which like I'm happy about. Yay! A new friend. Yes. So I'm gonna put all of the links for the events tomorrow in the general chat for you guys. So that's something that we're gonna be doing over here at Nonviolence International New York. And so that's been really great. Thank you. Sarah, go ahead.
I just wanted to let everybody know really quick that, and Aidan, if I think Daniela sent you an image to put up on the screen. There's a Q&A tomorrow as well for the graduate plan. If you guys want to join, it's a live Zoom, and please email me at my first and last name, Sarah Kirshbaum, at nonviolence.ny.org. And it's just, you want to learn more about the graduate plan, where wonderful people like these have wonderful discussions about UN policy and different issues around the world. It's a great learning experience, and we would love to see you tomorrow to hear more about it.
Awesome.
Yes, so be
Okay.
sure to check that out. Aidan has the graphic, and then with the graphic, we will disappear.
Yes, indeed.
You got it?
And we
Is
will
on?
link it below.
It is not on yet. It will be in a moment.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on. Sarah, thank you so much for your great skills. We certainly appreciate like all of the things that you do over here because like Sarah is like in charge of like so much, and is a great teacher. Deepa, thank you so much for joining us. That I'm really glad that you just like, oh, actually, like I know a bunch about this topic.
That's cool. It was very helpful.
Yeah, check out the webinar.
Awesome.
It was very helpful. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's it. Bye, guys.
Bye.